Here are the top reasons why I chose not to use the race card and the sex card as reasons why I was not selected for the position, even though I had good reason to believe that both of those identities played a significant role in why I was ultimately not chosen for the position.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.
Man, welcome back to another episode of the Ruling Class Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi, back up in this bitch with another video. And if you're new to the show, listen, I just ask that you hit that subscribe button. If you're not new to the show, if you are new to the show, either way, I ask that you please like this video, comment on this video, share this video. I would really appreciate it. It helps push the video out there in the algorithm to reach more people. But listen, this video won't be too long, and this video will be a little bit different from my other videos as far as format, right? Let me just say, this video probably won't be one of my more popular videos, but it will be one of my most important videos. It will be one of my most impactful videos. For those of you who have been subscribed to the channel for a while may already know this, but a few days ago I posted that I had my very first professional interview at this college university. I don't know if I posted where it was at, but it was at a college university, right? I applied for this assistant director position, which is a pretty high position on the campus, right? And I don't know how many of you follow me on actual social media outside of YouTube, but if you follow me on Instagram, things of this sort, you may know this. But I do a lot of things outside of podcasting, right? I am a public speaker, right? I do work at a homeless shelter. I used to be homeless. There's a lot of things that I do outside of the podcasting world, right? And so that's important to know, because when I came into this position, when I applied for this position was for an assistant director in the Community and Economic Development Department at the university. Now, I want to paint this. The purpose of this video is to show you how much of a teachable moment this is, because I could have took this moment and I could have took what my friend told me, because I didn't see it that way until she spoke it into existence. And then now, like, I'm thinking about it a whole lot, and I could have really played the victim card. And I've never really been one to do that. So I think this is a teachable moment, not just for like minorities, not just for, especially for minorities, but not just for minorities, right? It's for also for anybody who this can apply to. This goes to show you that don't let something break you. You can grow from it, right? You can learn from it. You can capitalize out of it, you know? Sometimes things are not as they seem, you know? And that can work both ways, you know what I mean? So anyway, I'm going to tell you all about the position. I'm going to tell you how every single thing about this position spoke to who I am as a person. And this is the very first professional interview I've ever had. And I actually had to present, right? I had to put together a PowerPoint, right? I had to talk about my life. I had to talk about my professional career. And I had to like really sell myself, right? And I'm going to talk about how the interview went. I'm going to talk about all the things that they needed for the position. I'm going to talk about all the things that I offered as a professional, you know, as far as my skill set. And I thought it was a match made in heaven. I really thought that. Not even being biased. I'm just being honest. And I'm going to tell you how it didn't work out in my favor, and what it is that my friend told me that made me see things a little bit different. All right. So for the assistant director position, again, in the Community and Economic Development Department, what they needed was someone who was a public speaker, right? I've been a public speaker since 2018, right? So I've been a public speaker for almost, going on 5 years. So I've been doing it for a while now, right? And for those of you who don't know, I have some videos on this channel. I have some videos on my Instagram page as well of my public speaking videos, and I'm not half bad at it. So I've been a public speaker for a while. They needed someone who has history in facilitation, right? That basically means like putting together events and being able to like control conversations, control rooms, and orchestrate questions and things of that sort. I had experience in doing so during my time in graduate school earlier this year and last year. So that was something that I did learn to do. Another thing that they needed for this position was somebody who worked in the community, right? Again, I work at a homeless shelter. I've been doing all sorts of volunteer work for like the past 7 years. I'm 28 years old. I've been doing it for a very long time now. So it was like a match made in heaven. The person who held the position before me literally went to the graduate school, which is the Clinton School of Public Service. I don't know if you all know where I went, but I went to the Clinton School of Public Service. here in Little Rock, Arkansas, right? And it's President Bill Clinton School, if for those of you who don't know. And it's not a school that a lot of people are accepted into. In fact, I believe like each class has like 35 people, right? So the fact that the person who held it before me, held this position before I held it, was a graduate of the Clinton School. It was like, that's crazy, right? The homeless shelter that I work at, the executive director of that homeless shelter actually knows the director of this department that I'm applying to because they've worked together before. So she's emailed this lady and put in a good word for me, right? Well, this same executive director of the homeless shelter asked me to speak like 3 months ago at another college university here, again, because I told you I'm a public speaker. Well, a doctor that was present at this speaking engagement is actually on the board of the department that I'm applying to. So this executive director put in a good word for me. And so I was like, wow, I really appreciate it. It's like the red carpet is just being laid out for me. And then the day before the interview, there's another gentleman that works at the homeless shelter that reached out and basically told me, hey, heard about the position that you're applying to. Turns out that somebody that's on the board of the homeless shelter actually is good friends with the director of the department that you're applying to. So I had that person to reach out and put in a good word for you. And I was like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I really appreciate it. It's like, once again, it's like, humbly I say this, everything was panning out, not to put me in a position where I felt like I had a really good chance. But if I'm just being honest and frank with you now that it's all over with, I felt like I was going to get the job. I knew I was going to get the job. It's just something in me. It's just one of those things. It's like, you just know, because I'm so confident in myself. I've always been a very confident person. It's, as far back as I can remember, I'm confident in myself. So I go to the interview, and again, as you all see the picture up here, like, I'm dressed up and I look very presentable and things of that sort. And the color of the school is purple, man. You know what I mean? So I put on a purple tie. Everything was very strategic. You know what I mean? I come in, I got my flash drive, I introduce myself, and it turns out that one of the ladies that was present, because it wasn't just the director there, it was a committee of people, right? And one of the ladies that was present actually she also saw me speak at the speaking engagement, and she was blown away by my speaking engagement, right? A few months back, right? So I'm like, wow, all of this is panning out for me, right? So I get in the interview and I knock it out the ballpark. Like, I'm not saying that to be conceited. I'm not saying it to be arrogant or even to be biased. I'm very hard on myself. I'm very critical of myself, or at least I like to think of myself that way. I think I did an exceptional job, right? I made eye contact. I was very vocal. I was very confident. I was very assertive, not too aggressive, And I think I answered the questions the right way. You know what I mean? I did my research on how to properly answer certain questions, and I learned a lot of that in grad school as well. Being that I earned my master's earlier this year, right? And the position that I'm applying for, by the way, the highest level of degree of education that they're asking for is actually a bachelor's degree, which I thought was surprising, based on, the job description and the job requirements, but that made me overqualified, but I went into it as if I was underqualified, which I think was the right approach to have. So, not to mention that only the president of the university that I'm applying to, is on my resume as a reference because he's a close friend of mine. Everything panned out. It worked perfectly. Everything that they needed, from traveling to being a public speaker, you know what I mean, to working with the community, all those things, it was like, this is a match made in heaven. The biggest thing I noticed when I first walked in the room was that it was a committee of women, right? And if I'm just going to be frank, it was a committee of white women. I did notice that right away. And to be honest with you, it actually boosted my confidence. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a very honest person. It boosted my confidence. I was even more confident that I saw it was all women in there. You know what I mean? It's just something about talking to women. You know what I mean? I don't feel as intimidated, I guess. I don't know. I'm very confident talking to men as well, but I'm even more confident talking to women because I'm a heterosexual man. Maybe that's the reason. I'm not sure. Boom, I knock it out the park. And so I leave, I shake hands, they ask me questions, I answer them correctly, I leave, I shake hands, and I write a thank you note, a handwritten thank you note. I brought it back up to the office, gave it to the receptionist, she got it to the director, and I left, and then I emailed her to make sure that she got the thank you note, and also, extended a thank you through the email as well. I did all the necessary steps. And then I was told that they will let me know by this Thursday, by today. Well, she ended up emailing me by Tuesday of this week, so a couple of days ago. And I actually didn't see it until yesterday. I was sitting in the living room with the my best friend, and I'm scrolling through my email. I've been checking my email relentlessly, and I get the email, and it starts off by, first and foremost, I want to say I appreciate, and it starts off with all the compliments and things of that sort, and it just lets me know that unfortunately there was someone else that was a better fit for the position. And I'll be honest with you, like a lot of people, naturally, it was a bummer. I felt down. I was disappointed. It hurt. It stung, to read that at first. And I was like, well, dang, I actually didn't see that coming. I was so confident I was going to get it. I understand there was other candidates, and I understand there was somebody that was probably more qualified than me. The only thing I lacked was experience. And I'm going through all those thoughts in my head, and I'm just staring at my phone, and my best friend was like, she said, what happened? What's wrong? And I looked up at her, and I said, the job. I didn't get it. And she was like, no, what do you mean? Like, she was really hurt for me. You know what I mean? Because everything just made so much sense. Everybody thought I was going to get the job, right? And so they just thought I was a perfect fit for it, as I thought I was. You know what I mean? I thought everything just lined up perfectly, right? And so then she sat there for a second, and then she said to me, she calls me by my last name. She goes, Jordan, you know what I think? I said, what's that? She said, I think they were intimidated. And I was like, what? She said, I think they were intimidated. And I was like, what do you mean? She said, because just how you carry yourself. She said, you got to think about it. You're coming in there with a master's degree. She said, Jordan, you all only needed a bachelor's degree. The director maybe don't even have a master's degree yet. Who knows? She said, and I'm just going to say it, you're a black man. And you said it was all women there, right? And I was like, I didn't think about it like that. I thought I'd have a better chance that way. And she was like, I understand why you think that, but she said, I'm just saying, like, maybe it wasn't a factor, but they were probably intimidated by you. Just, how confident you are. And you gotta, and the more and more I thought about what she said, I was like, I think you're right. But I'm not going to say that you're right in the sense of like, oh my God, like I'm a black man and it was all white women in here. I'm not going to say that they're racist or that they're sexist. Instead, I'm going to blame it on human nature, right? I think a factor, maybe not the biggest factor, because I do believe that the person that they decided to go with was a better fit than me. I do believe that, and I'm going to force myself to believe that. But I will say this. Human nature, not that somebody's racist, not that someone's sexist, but they made me realize, like, Demetrius, sometimes in life, and you're going to cheat yourself and you're going to be lying to yourself if you're convincing yourself that this isn't true, that this isn't a real thing, which is sometimes when you're sitting across from someone, you want to work with somebody who's relatable to you. So maybe you checked off all boxes, Demetrius, but maybe there was someone else who also checked off all boxes, but was more relatable. You got to understand that this is the director and this is the committee, and you're going to be traveling with these people and you're going to be working closely with them. Maybe they just wanted to go with someone who was, as qualified or almost as qualified as you, with just as much experience, if not more experience than you, but they're also more relatable. Maybe they picked the white female. Maybe they picked the white male. Maybe they picked an African-American female. Who knows? And even if none of those things was a factor, this is a teachable moment, Demetrius. Don't feel like you're a victim. Don't pull the victim card. Learn from this, grow from this, because what you can learn and what you can recognize is that the lady didn't just email you and tell you that you didn't get the job. She offered you mentorship. She didn't have to do that. She offered you advice going forward as you continued your search for your new professional career. She didn't have to do that. She also said the kind words of saying that she knows that you're going to be she said that you're an exceptional individual, but they just had to pick someone else that was a better fit. And she also said that she knows that you're going to do great things for some organization. Even though they may sound cliche, you have to admit to yourself, Demetrius, that sounded sincere and genuine. And based on your interactions with them in that interview and how great the interview went, you can tell that they, felt the same way that you felt about the interview. So capitalize on that, respond to her, thank her for the opportunity, and that's what I did. And so this is my very long way of saying, everything isn't always black and white. Everything isn't always about race and gender. Even though I do believe that those things play a role, it does not mean that the person is a bad person. I just think that's human nature. If I'm sitting across from someone and I have two people that are qualified and one's more relatable to me, I might just have to go. Now that may not be something that me as a boss or that person as a boss may never say out loud, but that's human nature. And that's okay, Demetrius, because you may be in a similar position as the director someday where you have to make a tough decision like that. So don't pull the victim card. And I just feel like if I was on the left, right, I would immediately go to pulling the race card. I'm a victim, and oh my God, I can't force myself to grow boobs and long hair and have a uterus, and all of a sudden I'm a woman and lighten my skin. And it's like, no, it's not about that, brother, because even with you being as you currently are, as you are currently constructed, the lady had enough respect for you, and she respected, how you presented yourself and conducted yourself so much that she was willing to offer you other services and help you in the furtherance of your career. So you got to take the good out of things and not pay so much attention to the bad. And I feel like this is important to say for somebody out there, because sometimes it's easy to play the victim, and that's not always the great, route to go. Y'all hop in the comment section and y'all let me know what y'all think about this. Do y'all think I'm seeing this the right way? Do y'all see it any other particular way? Just let me know in the comment section, man. Until next time, peace.
Oh yeah, Diddy got a podcast.